In past episodes, we've talked a lot about not giving up. But today, I want to say something a little different. Not giving up does not always mean pushing harder. Sometimes, it means breathing through one more difficult day. Sometimes, it means resting, learning, changing direction, and trying again with a wiser heart. Maybe right now, you are tired. Maybe you feel like everyone else is moving forward, while you are still trying to understand your own path. Maybe you have asked yourself, what if I keep trying, but still get nowhere? So today, I want you to imagine this. It is 20 years from now. You are looking back at the person you are today. The version of you who was scared. The version of you who doubted everything. The version of you who almost walked away, not because you were weak, but because you were exhausted. And maybe, from that future place, you will see what you cannot see right now. You were not stuck. You were growing roots. You were not behind. You were becoming stronger in a season that no one else fully understood. And one day, you will be proud you didn't give up. Not because everything worked out perfectly, but because you stayed long enough to meet the version of yourself that this season was trying to build. In history, many people did not succeed because their journey was easy. They succeeded because they did not stop at the first failed version of themselves. They succeeded not because they were never rejected, not because they were never doubted, not because they never failed. They succeeded because they did not let one failure become the final version of their life. J.K. Rowling was rejected by many publishers before the story of Harry Potter became known around the world. Imagine if, after a few rejections, she believed that her story had no value and stopped forever. Maybe the world would never have known one of the most loved book series of all time. Walt Disney was also doubted for his creativity. At some points, other people could not see what he was seeing. But because he did not give up on his imagination, he built a world that helped millions of people, both children and adults, dream again. Michael Jordan once felt the pain of being cut from a basketball team. For many people, that could be a reason to give up. But for him, it became a reason to practice harder. He did not let one rejection define his worth. He used it as a reminder that he still had more room to grow. And Oprah Winfrey, before she became a media icon, was once told that she was not right for television. But if she had believed that judgment completely, if she had allowed one opinion from someone else to decide her whole life, the world might never have heard her powerful voice. And when I look at these stories, I think the most inspiring part is not only that they became successful in the end. The most inspiring part is that, at some point, they also stood in front of a closed door. They were also told no. They also had reasons to doubt themselves. They also had moments when they could have stopped. But instead of seeing failure as proof that they were not good enough, they saw it as part of the process of becoming better. And maybe this is something we need to remember in our own journey. One rejection does not mean we have no value. One failure does not mean our future is over. One slow season does not mean we will be left behind forever. Sometimes, life does not ask us, can you succeed immediately? Sometimes, life only asks us, after you fail, do you still have the courage to learn again, stand up again, and try one more time? So if today you are in a season where no one sees your effort yet, please do not be too quick to say that what you are doing is meaningless. Maybe you are only at the beginning of the story. Maybe you cannot see the result yet, but that does not mean the result will never come. Some people are only known by the world after many quiet moments of not giving up. And maybe, one day, when you look back, you will also realize that the times you kept going in silence became the biggest turning points of your life. My friend, I have to tell you this. Failure is not as dangerous as believing that failure is the whole story of who you are. People often say that giving up is easy and continuing is hard. And the more I think about it, the more I feel that it is true. Because when we give up, at least in that moment, everything may feel a little lighter. We no longer have to keep trying. We no longer have to face the pressure. We no longer have to listen to the voice in our head asking, "What if I keep trying but still fail?" We no longer have to watch other people move faster and blame ourselves for still being here. Giving up can sometimes give us a quick feeling of relief, but continuing is different. Continuing means we choose to stay with uncertainty. We choose to take one more step, even when no one promises us that everything will get better soon. We choose to try for one more day, even when there are still many doubts inside us. We choose to keep going, not because we are not afraid, but because we understand that fear should not decide our whole future. And I think this is why continuing is so hard. Because to continue, we need more than motivation. Motivation is beautiful, but it is not always reliable. It visits us on some days and disappears on others. There are mornings when we wake up with energy, with hope, with the feeling that maybe we can try again. But there are also mornings when even opening our eyes feels heavy. On those days, we may not feel inspired. We may not feel brave. We may not even feel sure that all of this effort will lead somewhere. And still, somehow, a quiet part of us knows that we are not finished yet. That is the kind of courage continuing requires. Not the loud kind of courage that looks strong from the outside, but the quiet kind. The kind that helps us take one more small step when everything inside us feels tired. The courage to move slowly without calling ourselves a failure. The courage to have a bad day without believing we have a bad life. The courage to look at where we are and still say, "I am not there yet, but my story is not over." So if you are in a season where you have tried so hard, but the results are still unclear, please be gentle with yourself. Maybe you are not weak. Maybe you are simply exhausted from carrying too much for too long. Maybe what you need is not to give up on your life, but to give your heart a little rest. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Let yourself be human. And when you are ready, continue again. Not with the same pressure, not with the same old way that made you feel broken, but with more wisdom, with more softness, with a better understanding of what your heart truly needs. Because continuing does not mean staying on the wrong path forever. It does not mean ignoring your pain. It does not mean forcing yourself to be strong every day. Sometimes, continuing means choosing not to abandon yourself in the middle of a difficult chapter. It means giving yourself time to heal, time to learn, time to find another door, time to become someone who can walk forward with more peace. Giving up may make the pain feel smaller for a while, but continuing gives your future a chance to become something different. A calmer life, a stronger heart, a softer way of living, a version of you who no longer needs to prove everything at once, because deep inside, you finally trust that life can still unfold in a better way. And maybe one day, when you look back at this season, you will understand something you cannot understand right now. You will see that this was not the end of your story. It was the place where you learned to stay, the place where you learned to begin again, the place where you chose your future, even when the present felt heavy. And on that day, you may not only be proud because you succeeded, you may be proud because you did not leave too early. Because on the days when giving up felt easier, you still protected the person you were becoming. Sometimes we continue not because we are certain we will win. We continue because somewhere deep inside, we still believe our future deserves one more chance. Maybe one of the hardest battles in life is not winning against the whole world outside. It is waking up on a normal day when your heart does not feel okay, and still choosing not to lose to yourself that day. Not losing to the tiredness that wants to keep you in bed a little longer. Not losing to the fear that makes you want to delay one more day. Not losing to the small voice inside you that says you are not good enough, not fast enough, not strong enough, or not worthy enough to keep going. Because the truth is, there will always be someone out there who moves faster than us. Someone who succeeds earlier. Someone who gets more attention. Someone who seems to be far ahead. And if we keep looking at other people's lives, we may forget that we are also growing, just at a different speed, on a different path. But truly strong people do not spend their whole life chasing a meaningless race. They understand that the most important battle is not whether they are better than someone else today. It is whether they can keep the promise they made to themselves. They do not wake up only to prove to the world that they are worthy. They wake up so they do not leave themselves behind. They do not try only to be better than other people. They try because they know there is still a better version of themselves waiting to be built. And some days, winning does not look like winning. There is no applause. No one praises you. No big result appears right away. Sometimes, winning is just getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. Doing one small thing when your body feels tired. Keeping a little discipline when your motivation is almost gone. Trying quietly for one more day when no one knows how much you are fighting inside. But please, do not look down on days like that, because sometimes the strongest version of us is not created on the days when everything is easy. It is created on the days when we really want to give up, but still choose to do what needs to be done. On the days when we do not feel strong, but we do not let one weak moment decide our whole future. On the days when no one sees us, but we still quietly keep ourselves from falling apart. So if today is one of those days, please be a little gentler with yourself. You do not have to win your whole life in one day. You do not have to become perfect today. You do not have to prove that you are stronger than everyone else. You only need to win one small part of yourself. Win against one moment of delay. Win against one negative thought. Win against one old habit. Win against one moment when you want to give up too soon. Because life does not change, because one day we suddenly become extraordinary. Life changes when we repeat enough small but right choices. One more day of trying a little. One more day of standing up again. One more day of not leaving ourselves behind, even when things are still hard. And one day, when we look back, we will understand this. The strongest version of ourselves was not built from the times we were better than other people. It was built from the many quiet times we overcame ourselves.